All right, my clock says 11, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you my customary reminder that if you have not already signed in with your name and library, go ahead and do that. So
I need to make
um,
sure. Oh, if the
we
green
can
thing's
make sure that,
clicked on, that means I'm signed in, right?
so what you need to do is just in chat, put your name and your um, library. All right, so um, many of you have seen the permission project information already, but I just am trying to send it to everybody who might have any interest in knowing more about what is changing. Um, so, um, Basically, it's a project that we have been working on for about 2 years, off and on. When I say 2 years, it makes it sound like we've been slaving all that time. Well, that's not really true. We would circle back around to it to get it finally to this point. So it's been a conglomeration of Equinox and the executive board and the circulation committee and the cataloging and Liz, our consortium cataloger, all working together over that time period to get to where we are today. So basically, what we are doing is producing a base level for new libraries that are coming in and starting bringing everybody back to that base level for both circulators and circulation administrators, so that everybody's starting on the same ground level. Then we're asking you, and I've sent out, if your library was affected, I think, with accounts that had extra permissions, I have tried to contact you to let you know what those are so that you will know what will be going away and what you might need to add back on. And then we have asked you to evaluate those things to see, um, to make your staff accounts reflect the job that your staff person is actually doing. We don't want to say don't add extra permissions, because if their job description requires those extra permissions, we want you to go ahead and add them on. Just make sure you do it after the go live date, or else you'll have to turn around and probably do it again. So that's the first thing we're doing on circulators. Then all the cataloging accounts, and I really have had no part in this. All the cataloging accounts are going to the new permission tree, which basically is based on the number of certifications that you have, where you will fall on that tree. So there's anything from baby cat up to top cat, which I think, okay, that's just too cute. But anyway, um, Circ admin accounts will have everything that is in baby cat. So if you don't have to go back on and add baby cat back to anything, because that should be included in the Circ admin group of permissions. So if you have questions about that, Liz is your girl, because like I say, I have not had any input into that whatsoever. All right, then as far as the permission tree, and I have, um, as of this morning, I think I've gotten every um, library director the Google Sheets document that is going to show you what a comparison of circulators and Circ admin. It's going to show you the new permission tree for what that's going to look like. And then it gave you definitions of what some of the permissions are. And I'm just here to say, sometimes I read those definitions and I look at it and go, okay, I understand what those words are, but I don't know what that really means um, in the ILS. So um, again, Equinox should be able to help you if you have something that you're looking at it and going, I don't know what I need here. So, but I thought I would include that too because I found it at least a little bit helpful to have. So, then as far as permission trees, we're discontinuing non-circ in the patron group, and we're moving outreach was kind of an outlier. It wasn't under patrons. And so the outreach group is a patron type of account. And so we've moved it under that um, hierarchy. And then we have discontinued general staff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you were one of the libraries that I was working with to get that permission removed from your accounts and changed to something that would be permanent. We were able to, on the test server, we were able to get that done. And so thank you for the effort you put into that. We're also discontinuing data review because there was nobody in data review at all, and discontinuing serials. So the original date was that they were moving into test server was the 18th. I looked at it on the 19th and realized, okay, nothing on my end has changed. So as of the 20th was when they were actually making those changes on the test server. So if you want to get into the test server and play around with the new, see how the new permissions work, um, this is your big chance. Um, if there's, if you have problems or something does not work how you think it should with the permissions that we're telling you you should have, please let me know so that we can work with Equinox to get that fixed before it goes live. Um, so, um, the other thing I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I want everybody to be prepared for when this happens. On the go live date, the system is automatically going to remove any individually assigned permissions if you had circulators or circulation admin on there. So this is talking um, even if it's an admin thing or something, cataloging thing that's been added on, it's going to remove those and take you back to the baseline. So if you think you might need extra permissions, take a look at that comparison so that you can see what you might need there. Um, our hope is really that this is, we've been going since 2012, and some people were brought in under Mobius, some people were brought in under Equinox, and everybody was just kind of willy-nilly doing their own thing out there. And so the executive board wanted to bring it back to where we had a good, this is the baseline that we're going to start with, and then yes, you can add on to it. So we're hoping that you'll take this opportunity to just evaluate your accounts, see that they have the permissions that you really need, and assign as necessary. So for most circulation and circulation admin accounts, nothing is going to change. Hopefully, if anything is going to change on yours, you've already been notified. Um, can I guarantee that it's all going to work perfectly? Probably not, but we're trying to do the best that we can to get it on day one being
Did she say
um,
or not?
as correct as we can possibly make it. So,
And I have a
questions?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Shouldn't change.
So if, we're in a small library where we do both cataloging and circulation. So, will our cataloging permissions override anything that's in the circulation?
It shouldn't override it. I would think if you have, say you have your staff member has circulator permissions, whatever whatever, um, what's the word? they've passed the test to get to that level, whatever level they're on, that would become their secondary permission level. And if
So,
not, if it doesn't, then you need to talk to Liz to get it. Um, I mean, it would work as a primary and a secondary permission group. You would have more than one.
Basically gonna have,
so you're saying that an
Catalog-
individual user would have to have two different kinds of permissions.
right.
Well, depending upon what they do in cataloging. Basic cataloging is already included in administrators. Um, but if they have passed that first, I think there's two different credentials they can get, for lack of a better word. So depending upon what you have passed, Darcy, do you know more about this?
Yes, I just had to unmute myself.
Thank you.
I think what you're trying to say is that baby cat is included in the circulation administrator.
Correct.
And then there is a beginning certification and an advanced certification. And Liz will apply, I assume, secondary permission groups based on what certification you have completed and or recertified in, because we have to recertify every year.
So, I mean, it is possible that you have your primary permission group is a cataloging permission group, and you have a secondary circulation group too. So it could go either way.
Yeah, I don't know or think it matters if what's secondary and primary. It's just
I don't think so
whatever's
either.
added on after the first thing that you are.
So our girls were basically, but what about Tara? You need to mute it so I can hear you through there.
Can I ask a question about, there's no certification for Circ at this point, correct?
No.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I thought I heard you say that. I'm like, oh boy, that's something I do not know. Okay, so I just want to make sure. That would be kind of cool if there was something, huh?
No.
So I just
It
want to
would be
make
a
sure that I
pain, but it would be nice to, anyway, I have my own little test they take, so.
I just want to make sure I understand. So if I'm an advanced cataloger, the permissions that I need in circulation are already there, or they have to be added.
If you have advanced cataloging permissions on your account already, when we do this change, Liz will automatically put you into the correct category, and you should not have to add anything else if you're already in that permission level. Does that make sense?
Rhonda, and that may be a question for Liz or the cataloging committee, because I don't know, since I do both, I don't really know what circulation permissions are given to the cataloging permission group.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. So questions for Liz. Okay, so question, does Liz do this, or does each library have a person assigned? Well, certainly a library could have somebody assigned, but as far as the cataloging permissions, she's going to be going off of whether you've passed that basic level or whether you've passed the advanced level, and then assigning you permissions based on that. We're not talking about an individual, you have this one piece of cataloging that's been added onto you. That would be something that you would have to go back and re-enter. Hopefully, though, your libraries have been notified about what those accounts are and what permissions were already added on to those accounts.
Will that happen pretty quickly? I mean, there won't be any interruption in service, right?
No, and if you go, I think both changes have been made. I know the circ changes have been made. I think both changes have been made in the test server. So get on the test server and see if you can do um, what you think you can do. This does not affect system admin, local admin. The only thing it is affecting is circulators, circulation, admin, and then the whole cataloging part. So that section, if you have things added onto like a system admin account that fall in those other things, um, there's, if you have a secondary permission of those other things, then it could affect you. But if you just have a basic system admin, it should not change anything for you. All right. Um, Probationary patrons. Heather sent out a little survey, and I'm going to let her talk about what we found out.
Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen so we can all see. I put together. Okay, hopefully you are seeing my screen. It is an Excel spreadsheet. So we had 37 responses from 36 different member libraries, and this was to just ask a few basic questions about which libraries use the probationary patron group and how they use it and what they would like to happen with it, if anything. So I've got a couple of graphs up here at the top. The first one here, probationary patron group use, 25 of the libraries that responded do not use the group at all. So that's more than half of the libraries that responded don't use it. Then we had a couple of other options. 6 libraries that responded use it regularly. 3 that responded use it sometimes. One library said they would possibly use it in the future. And then 2 libraries said they use it only accidentally, which is highly relatable. And then over here, this graph is a little different. It is the preferred default expiration period. So right now, because it is a patron permission group, those settings are on the MEC level. And right now, the default expiration period for probationary patrons is 90 days. And libraries have the option to manually change that when they're creating the cards. But you can see that fewer libraries are represented on this chart. It's just 12 libraries because I only used the responses from the libraries that said they were using the group or planned to use it. So of the 12 libraries who use probationary patron or who plan to use it, 7 libraries said they prefer the current setting. And then a couple of libraries said they would prefer 30 days instead. And 3 libraries said they would prefer 60 days instead. And then a little further down, this is another question that we asked, is the length of the probationary period set in your library's policies? Because policies are not very fun to change. So again, most libraries don't have that set, but a few libraries do have it set in policy and other libraries don't. And some people weren't sure. Again, very relatable. And then how does your library use this group? This is used for visitors, temporary housing, unhoused patrons, or patrons without a permanent address, about 6 libraries. And then this is our default for new patron accounts. After a set time period, we change the account to another patron group, like resident or reciprocal, and that was about the same number, it's 5. And then I have a few comments at the bottom, which are just libraries. I'm going to make this a little bigger so hopefully people can actually read it. Which are just libraries giving a little bit more information on how they use probationary patron at their library. So these are their responses that were given by those who responded. So thank you to those who were able to do that. I will leave this on the screen as long as it's useful to the discussion.
Okay, so circulation committee, the original request that came to us was to change this to a shorter time period. I believe 60 days was what the request was, and we wanted to find out more about what was going on with the libraries that were actually using it and how they were using it. So based on these results, what do you, as a committee, want to recommend we do?
How many libraries that reported in, Heather, are in this meeting, I wonder right now? I reported in.
Let's see. I can check my other.
I'm just
sheet.
curious, you know what I mean? It's like
So
here we have
I
people that answered
I-
the survey, and then we have us that are
Mhm.
talking about the outcome of.
I'll make this a little larger. I took out the email addresses, so this is effectively anonymized. But oh, these are not in alphabetical order. Sorry, that's going to be a bit of a mess. Let me update that. Okay. So alphabetical order, these are the respondents, and I'm actually going to make it a little smaller so we can see them all on the same screen. So these are the respondent libraries.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Based on the survey, Rhonda, since the majority of people who responded that use it prefer that 90 days, which is how it's already set, I would say leave it as is.
Truthfully, that's how I'm leaning also. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Terry, Darcy?
I recommend that we leave it as is and that we suggest more people fill out surveys. Like that's what, less than half? Like,
Yeah.
how do you get data from that? But anyway, yes, I recommend.
Good
we
job,
leave it
Heather,
as
because
is.
that was
I was trying to say half of the surveys. I think that's a really good turnout, but we just did
Actually,
surveys
yes.
for us and that we got almost nothing. So I think half of them is great, Heather.
yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I should have sent out a reminder and didn't. I'm pretty pleased with the number of people who responded. I think if people had an opinion about it, I'm hoping they would have responded. So I am wondering if many of the other libraries don't use this group and so did not think the conversation would apply to them. I'm also inclined to leave it as is. I am very glad always when we have the conversations to revisit defaults to make sure that they're still serving us best. And this one does look like it is still serving the majority of people who use it.
The thing it did for me, though, personally, is reminded me of this is actually a pretty helpful tool. And we talked with my supervisor, circulation supervisor, and we see a way that this could really help us with the problem we've been having. So for me, this was very helpful. And you're right, we need more libraries to understand the power of this, the information they can get from this group, and yeah.
I agree, Terry. I was really excited. I will call myself out. I forgot to fill out the survey, guys. Sorry. But we don't use it either. And I think that's part of why it wasn't super on my radar. But, you know, reading some of the responses here and thinking about how we could really apply this, I'm kind of excited to talk to my people about it now, you know?
Me too. I get it.
Well, and I definitely want to thank Ozark Regional for bringing it to our attention. Just because something has been this way forever does not, like Heather said, mean that it's really serving libraries as we're using it now. And so in this case, from what I'm hearing, the committee is going to recommend that we just leave it as is, but there certainly could be something in the future or that we might want to relook at and we find, okay, this is not working. There was a better way that we could do it. And we certainly are never going to be offended if somebody comes with a different idea. We want to make Evergreen work for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. There was some discussion, at least among the circulating committee and a few others I saw on the listserv about how frustrations and the good side and the bad side, I guess, of aged circulations, patron circulations, so that when you're trying to find someone from who was the previous user, some frustrations with not being able to find the information you wanted because of age circulation, but also realizing there's a balance there with how long do we maintain information on a patron to where it becomes a privacy issue that, like we don't want to have something from 2 years ago on there at this point. So I wanted to open the discussion back up to libraries to see how, what are your thoughts on how it's going? We've been living with it this way for a while. What are your thoughts?
I'm
Rhonda,
happy to
I'm just
say I don't like it. There have been too many times when I've had copies of material that leave here, and because of the way the hold list works, it might travel to two other libraries before I get it back. Then it's the last library sends it in with a note that said, "Well, it was damaged when I got it, but I don't know who had it before them." And when I go to age circulation, I can't find that information out.
And Rhonda, we're seeing a completely different issue at Poplar Bluff Library. It's not even about being able to locate patrons or damaged items. I can't pull information for reports sometimes that I need. So, for example, we just tried to pull a report of who has circulated an item in 2025 out of all of our patrons. I don't need to know necessarily which barcodes, but I need a count of, 7,000 people or whatever. And when I contacted Equinox because we didn't think that number was correct, they basically stated, no, it's not going to be correct because of how this data is collected. So I am having issues with reports that I want to pull that have nothing to do with patron information and patron privacy, but are just me trying to figure out how we're utilizing the library. So that's my concern with how our current settings are set up.
Yes, I thought about the same thing. Would it be possible to keep a history of where the book has been, not exactly who had the book? Would that make it easier for us, helpful to us?
It does show like where it's been. And what I've been using, because I had a lot of grievances. I went back and forth with Steve. And because I was really upset, we have hot spots and there was a lot of issues I was scared of. And I'm surprised to say that I was wrong, that I haven't had that many issues. And if I need to find out somebody's information, you can go to add billing. And it'll pull up, the little billing box and you can get the patron information from there. Because you can still charge someone after the fact, even if you're missing that information. And you can still see like where it circulated and stuff. So I have found ways to go around it. Also, triggered events is really, really useful because it does keep that stuff and you have the patron barcode. And I've had Equinox actually redo some reports for me to make sure that it includes age circulation. I don't know if that's going to solve the problem you're having, Belinda, but it seems to, I haven't ran into any issues with reporting yet, but no promises.
I'm confused though, if this whole thing is because we're trying to protect patrons' privacy, but yet there are two other ways around that idea, then
Hmm.
how are we protecting patrons' privacy?
Can I piggyback on Terry's thought? When people say like patron privacy, is this because hacking? Is this because government? Is this because frontline staff? Because I get it, like we don't need to have this information forever, but it also still exists and we just can't access it. Because I have contacted Equinox before and they have given me information that I needed since this change. Because we had a pest issue and we needed to know
Yeah,
like some anyway.
I was told, I mean, what Stephen alluded to was, the current state of affairs in America. and that it could be used against people. And I think the reason, now I don't know this, but I think it's like that's a clickable thing, right? Like seeing circ history that everybody has access to. The triggered events and stuff has special access. And, if someone were to come in and question us, frontline staff may not know where to find that. And it's not right there. You're not clicking on something and getting all the patrons' information. We can easily say, well, we can't get that information. But that was just my thought process when this initially happened.
That makes sense. That kind of makes sense. It's not
Yeah.
easily accessible by
Right.
every worker at the library.
Yep. It's just not right there in front of everybody.
So could this be a permissions issue? I mean, I know Missouri state law, like you have to have a subpoena for
Mhm.
Records, right?
library records, or written request, I suppose, is the actual what says of the law. So could it just be something that frontline staff didn't have permissions to just click on or view?
So if they were having an issue with trying to discover the actual damager of a certain book, they could go to their manager or supervisor or whatever, and that person could access that information. Would that still be within our right and, patron privacy? This sounds
Well,
like a
and here's the
loaded
other
question.
thing. Circ administrators just had triggered events added to their permissions for the purpose of being able to find out some of these things as opposed to having to take it to your director or take it to whoever.
Like your system
So
admin or something.
depending upon what your permission levels are. Now, does that mean that your staff knows how to do it or how to access it? That kind of comes down to training. Do they know where it is? Do they know how to use that information? But
I also think we've had the issue here, actually had to add it to our circulation training, where a police officer came into one of our branches, requested information, and they could just tell them. So I think it's really there of course, we have permissions, and if someone really wanted that information, yes, they could go through all the hoops to get it.
proper channels.
Yes, but it's not readily accessible to frontline staff if someone were to come in and say, "Hey, I'm an FBI agent," and they don't understand privacy laws or how we handle PII. So I think it's really there to stop people being like, "Oh, I can't get that information for you," even though they shouldn't be giving it out anyways. But I just, you know how people are. So
Yeah, I like what Kathleen on the chat said. I'm always more comfortable being in a situation where I can say with perfect frankness that I don't have that information. I think our frontline people need to learn that phrase. I don't have that. I don't have access to that information.
yes.
Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Wow.
so I know the executive board is going to talk about this on Thursday. So, what are takeaways that should be shared with them?
About this one topic, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Well,
let's
for
focus
now,
on
let's
this right
just-
now. It could be
yes.
something else in a minute,
Let's
but
just do this one thing. Yeah.
I've got something, Rhonda.
okay.
Of course I do. My one thing, well, I have two things. One thing is that the two circulations can be used up by one patron, checking an item out and it auto renewing. And it's almost never the patron that just had it that's the problem. Somebody checks it out, it auto renews, they bring it back a month later because we don't have overdue fines. And they're like, oh yeah, I didn't read this. I opened it up and the first 10 pages were torn out. And this is, 31 days later. So I have no idea who tore the first 10 pages out of the book. And the other is that the length of time something takes in the courier and the way I don't remember who said it, but the way holds work, if it leaves here and goes to the library and library 2 damages it, library 3 fills out a condition report, it could show up 6 months later if it's popular, because it will look at, oh gosh, what's the word? However close it is to the next hub or the next hold. And so I just think those two things are problematic as far as only 2 checkouts, but it can actually just be 1 patron, or time period when it can take a long time in transit or be out of my library for a long time.
I agree, Darcy. I mean, for us, we all allow up to 3 renewals. And so since those are showing in the list as a checkout each time, I mean, it definitely bumps people off that list pretty fast. And so that's just a practical concern. I mean, I absolutely agree with all the privacy issues that are being brought up, but just from a practical standpoint, if we're really only seeing our most recent circulation, then that's not always helpful.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
guess
nice
I
if
don't,
they extended it to 60 days. I think it's 30 days right now, just to allow extra time. And I also want to, so I just looked, it's not allowing me to add billing. I swear on my life that I was able to do this whenever that information was missing, and now it is grayed out. So if they could add that back in, it would still protect frontline staff from giving out that information. But, we still have access to that if we needed. So sorry, I misinformed everybody.
The MLC directors who sent their opinions to me were in favor of protecting patron privacy over the sort of the less common circumstance of having a book come back damaged after 6 months. I think my concern is that even if we move from 30 days to 60 days and double it, it still doesn't cover the time period of a patron who has 3 3-week renewals. So at that point, how long are we extending it?
Well, then you have the concern that not everybody charges for damages. I wonder how many libraries don't even charge for damaged books. This is not even a problem for them. Do you know what I mean? So the ones that are dependent on that money, there are some libraries who do depend on damaged books being paid for so they can buy another book. So,
So honestly, I don't know, to address Belinda's concerns. I don't know if there's a way that we could work with Equinox to still get the information we need, but not have it easily displayed. I don't even know if that's a possibility.
Yeah, and I think for most reports, like Macy said, they've been able to create new reports and fix it. This is just something that's come up recently. That again, we aren't worried about the damaged items. We aren't having much issue on the other end. But what we have had trouble with since we started is reports. And my other fear, and this is just me being a worrywart, is are there other things that I'm running, other reports that I don't know are wrong, that are missing information?
So Heather, that might be a reports issue I don't know if there's a way to.
Well, Belinda said she contacted support and they literally told her that they couldn't get it, which really surprises me. I was under the impression that the transaction was anonymized from, we removed the patron barcode, but we would still have the library and the date and, other things like that, which are reportable because they are unique transactions. So that does concern me.
Well, and Heather, it's because I'm looking for the number of people. And so because their barcode has been removed from that and is no longer attached to that circulation, that is the exact issue. because I was looking for, like, I can go on Hoopla and see how many people used Hoopla in 2025. But I can't go to our system and see X number of people checked out at least one item in 2025. And that was what I was looking for. And because the barcode has been removed and not attached to circulations anymore, that they can't give me that. So they gave me the best estimate, but there's probably 50,000 circulations within our library that are not accounted for. So I don't know if that's 50,000 different people or the same 5 people who've checked out 50,000 items. And again, that's just a
Okay.
weird outlier. So
Well, all right. Belinda and I are going to be, and Heather should be at, are you going to be at the executive board meeting, Heather? Yeah.
Yes, I will.
So all three of us will try to bring these um, concerns slash issues slash, let's see if we can make it better to the executive board. I'm not convinced we're going to get anything changed, but if we don't start talking about it, we never would get anything changed, or we couldn't purposefully decide let's leave it like it is. So
maybe I'm a little bit of a pessimist, but I think we just need to brace ourselves that whatever decision is reached is not going to make everybody happy and is not going to work for
exactly.
everybody. And we've just got to accept that.
Well, can I say one more thing too? I was thinking through the process. One thing that's come up a couple different times is that conditions report. And some libraries do it and some don't. I mean, I don't believe everybody's really using the condition report like we should be using it. I think it's really important to use them. We're pretty meticulous here about noting the Our patrons are picky about noting the damage before they leave the desk. So we use that conditions report. I think the problem is it's lost as soon as it hits the courier. So that report never makes it to where it needs to go. And if that would solve a lot of these problems if there was a way for the conditions report to be a little more helpful, a little more secure or trusted or something. I don't even know.
So Scott, I saw in your chat there was it's called the Evergreen Item Condition Report, where you can document damage to something as it's coming into your library before your patron ever has it in their hands. And also you can document things when the patron brings it back. I mean, there's a wide range of damage. I mean, so it's while I might note something, I probably might not bill. I mean, we all know when it hits billable damage, we know what that looks like. And so, but this is a way to let you know, okay, there's tears on this page, or there's stains on the bottom, or that kind of thing, so that libraries
It's meant really to help the patron know that you're not going to be charged for this damage. We are aware.
exactly.
That's the main purpose of it. But once, the patron tries to maintain that the whole time, 3 weeks they have it out, they're keeping track of that little green piece of paper and they bring it back. We typically want to leave it in the book as it goes home to Poplar Bluff or wherever. But in the meantime, it got routed to St. Louis and it was lost in the courier. So it's not a great system yet, but I think it could solve a lot of these problems of trying to keep a history. If we at least had that, that would be very helpful.
Right, because I know we received a book for one of our patrons from another library, and there was a note that it did have some pages missing. It was like some stickers or some different things that were in there that were removed, and it wasn't going back to its home library. It was going to another library. So that way, with that slip already being in there, it was noted ahead of time. And it was clear that it was not done by the last couple patrons.
So can I kind of chime in with Heather's comment that the whole thing really screams for a digital rather than a paper solution. But right now we can't use our big wonderful catalog, shared catalog, because we can't we can't make notes on other folks' items. I mean, to me, the item alert is how this should be handled, but we can't. Is there a fix out there to address that problem?
Well, it's definitely something we can ask Equinox about. I don't, I have no idea what the answer will be. Just like we said before, when we came into Missouri Evergreen, this is how you documented damage. And so we just kind of fell in line with what everybody else was doing. But it doesn't hurt to ask. And Dale and John and I are on a first name basis. So I will try and talk to them about this. I do not know. Um, until we ask, we won't know. But I'll try and find out something on that and report next month on what I find out.
I'm just curious, how many, if you guys do notice something like that, like if there's pages missing, are we not sending it back to the home library?
Well, we should. I mean,
That's
I guess
right.
that's personally my opinion. If the item is damaged enough that you wouldn't have your patron check it out, it it needs it would seem like you would need to contact its home library and ask them how to get it back, how they want you to get it back to them, and then hopefully that hold would reset and go to another one. Your only issue would be if that was the only copy in the whole
Copy.
consortium, but even then it would go to hopeless holds
Hmm.
where it could be dealt with.
I'm just thinking, like, something shouldn't be circulating if there's pages missing or if something's damaged. I mean, we need to stop it right there in the tracks before we let it circulate another 2 times and then we can't get that information. So, I mean, that's what I always advise my staff to do is to send it, and I usually just do a handwritten note and then we send it to that library and then we'll let whomever is in charge at that library know what's going on with that item so that they're aware. I really try to only have staff use those ME condition reports for like wear and tear. Um, and sometimes like I think Riverside Regional has like a little stamp in there that tells you we know this book is, a little worn down, but we still want to circulate it, which I really like. But I think really the only way to resolve this is to send it back to the owning library instead of letting it circulate.
We do
And
this.
I'm gonna be honest with 70 staff members. I don't know if all of my staff members, it's really easy to take out a piece of paper and write on it than to have all these staff members get online and fill out a form. Um, I just don't know if that would be feasible for us, if people would even do it, honestly.
We do the same thing, Macy. We do the same thing. If their page is missing or falling out, or the book is a damaged book, we wouldn't put on our shelf. I
Right.
would send it back with a written note saying, hey, there's this. I know you guys are using it, but I didn't check it out to our patron because of the condition.
Yeah.
So yeah, we always send those back too.
Okay, well, I will check and see what other options we might have, or if there are any other options, and get back to you next month then. Um, Moving on, the users conference is coming. I have included the registration link. I don't honestly know how many people are registered at this point, but it's a fun conference getting to see face to face all the people that you talk to, either on the phone or you see on a Zoom meeting. And Plus, there's just been really helpful sessions, at least in prior years. So hopefully that will also be the same. So if you have not signed up and you're wanting to get in on the cheaper rate, you have till March 24th if you want to spend the night. Of course, you can always just drive in that day and spend the day with us all too. So, yesterday, before I sent out this invitation, I looked at the courier version and it had changed. Nobody had told me that it had changed. And I honestly don't know if any of the changes were actually made to MEC libraries. So, I will just say, if you've not taken a look at your list, then there is a new version out. So, tomorrow is supposed to be when we go to 315. I'm honestly not sure if we're going to wake up tomorrow and come in and we'll be boom 315, or if it's going to be they're going to do it tomorrow night and we come in the next day and it's 315. So one way or another, it's coming pretty quick. I think I want to say they're going to do it. If I had to vote, I would say they're going to do it tonight, overnight, and we'll come, I mean, not tonight, the 25th. And when we come in on the 26th, it will be live. If I had to vote, that's what I think it's going to be.
I think they've
But,
said that it will be live on the morning of the 26th.
oh, good, because somewhere along the line, I've lost track there. So, okay.
Can I ask a quick question about that? At one
Sure.
point, we were staying one version behind the most current version. So like right now we're running 313, but we're jumping to 315.
Mhm.
Do you know if there was a reason that changed, that we're not staying a version behind?
We are actually 316.
Okay.
I think has come out. When we did the spotlight on 315, they were mentioning that 316, they're already producing a spotlight for 316. So
Oh,
technically, I think, we've always tried to say at least 6 months behind the newest version so that there could be some bug fixes and things like that before we don't want to be the beta testers of this. So, okay, it looks like
thank you, Heather.
316 was released late 2025. So, anyway, anything else that somebody would like to have the circulation committee consider? Okay, this is going to be like last month's meeting. We said goodbye, and then somebody asked another thing, and like about 10 of us were on there for another 20 minutes. Fortunately, it wasn't making any big decisions. It was mostly talking about the survey, but anyway. So I'm not hearing anything. So I'm going to say I hope you have a great day, and I'll see Heather and Belinda on Thursday. So have a good day.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.